All right, hi, welcome to my channel. Excuse me, speaking to solutions, transcending trauma. I'm at my other condo. I don't know if you can see it. It's so beautiful. I really loved this space. So today I'm like just kind of doing some reflecting and like talking about like the gifts of overcoming. Like I never like to give trauma the what's the word, the kudos, the appreciation, but the overcoming all day long. The overcoming definitely deserves some gratitude, not the suffering, because people can stay in suffering their whole lives, but the overcoming. So I wanted to talk about like sometimes trauma can cause us, and we all know about like all the negative and quirky and maladaptive and negative things that can happen, but talking about some of the positive things that were birthed for me from having lived through trauma, but the overcoming, like even without what's the word, like choosing, like consciously, but just our unconscious, just choosing health, choosing healthy things. So this is my second condo that I bought, and I remember like so much is flooding in about it, like about having been scapegoated and not ever allowing me to feel pride. There is such a thing as healthy pride. Like, God restores the pride of Jacob in the Bible as a gift. So like everything's on a spectrum, like being proud of something that you truly accomplished, there is nothing wrong with that. And it actually echoes out when you feel good and you role model that for others, or when you feel good about yourself, you can more easily give to others. So this condo I bought at auction, and I'm gonna feel the pride that I was not allowed to feel in those moments. It was always like even too, like some of the strength, I think there is a lot of times when you live through trauma, a scarcity mentality. And I think that made me hoard money. And so that was kind of a gift. So I remember going to this auction, and you had to have so many thousands of dollars to purchase one of the units. And I did my research, and I knew like what it would go for, not at auction. And I wanted a good deal. I didn't want to just buy it at auction for what I could buy it somewhere else. Actually, a lot of people, because of my research, and my mom had a real estate license, I could search the MLS, the multiple listing services. A lot of people actually, because they got caught up in the like sort of the frenzy of the auction, actually paid more than what they were listing for outside of auction. So I'm proud. I had a cap that I stuck to, and I was going to buy several units. It was actually lucky that I only ended up buying one, because the association put in a thing that you weren't allowed to rent them out. I was going to live in one and rent out the rest of them. But thankfully I didn't, because I would have been in a horrible situation. Thank God for that. So I kept bidding, and I would bid, and, there'd get some bidding wars, and then I'd back out because I'd hit a peak, and I allow myself maybe a couple thousand over, but, like I had my cap, and I finally won one. I won a beautiful 2-bedroom, 2-bath unit. This is a really pretty place. I'm looking at a little lake right now with a bunch of geese. And I felt like Alice in Wonderland. I used to come because there's like a little lake, but it loops around. So it sort of almost has an inlet, sort of like an island, but it's connected. And there was a weeping willow tree I would sit underneath and read. And there's a pool. I would sit by my pool. Like, again, so much safety and regulation for myself here. The willow tree right now, I can't flip and flip back. I don't know if that'll F it up. So excuse my language. I don't want to do that. I can see that the willow tree is still there, but there's just like a little bit of the willow. We're just getting over winter here. So a lot of things aren't green, but it looks like a lot of the tree has been cut. So it's almost like symbolic for me too. Like there's still some essence of me there, but a lot of the branches have been chopped off in a good way, in a good way. You know, it's all, again, it's a lot about perspective, not all, a lot about perspective. But so when I did win at auction, because I had been bidding so much and I kept losing, but I wanted to lose because I didn't want to overpay. Like everyone at the auction cheered for me. It was really awesome. Um, I remember an ex-boyfriend who is definitely on the narcissism spectrum. I know the traits, I know the DSM traits, and I have the experience of being in a 5-year relationship with him. He like invalidated me around this place so much. He would call it an apartment, you know, instead of a condo. He refused to call it a condo. And it's like tried to explain to him, but he didn't want to understand because he wanted to demean and invalidate me because he was living inside of his mother's house. You know, that a condo is something you own and an apartment is something you rent, you know. And he just refused. He just, you know, wanted to just invalidate, and he'd do it in a teasing way. Just remember, a lot of times sarcasm has anger behind it. And so yeah, he did a lot of like teasing and invalidating. And yeah, I didn't really get credit from many people in my life, but also them not giving me credit I had to search for it for myself, you know. So I learned how to do things like this and buy condos. And I lived here a long time. It was, you know, a very beautiful space. And I also made a really decent amount of money when I sold it. And I'm proud of myself. And I'm trying to remind myself, like, I was definitely scapegoated in my childhood, where like I was never given credit for the things I did. Like, they were always invalidated or, you know, minimized or even shamed, you know, shamed for wanting to be productive, you know, and for giving myself a better life. It was so peaceful living here, you know, aside from still allowing toxicity into my life because I hadn't learned yet, because it was so familiar to me that there is life outside of toxic connections. But there was good times here too, like reading under the willow tree or hanging out at my pool in the sunshine, and you know, just decorating my beautiful place the way I wanted to. That my siblings like ripped on me for that, even like made me feel shame around wanting things to look pretty, you know. And I liked it looking pretty, you know. I my ex would do that to me too, you know, like I love a beautiful environment. It really helps. Like, our environment is a reflection of our internal stuff. I do know, like, when there's chaos in my life, my surrounding environment gets more chaotic looking too, you know? And yeah, so this is just a reminder, like cleaning up my internal life. They're reflections of each other, you know? So it's not always just going internally to clean up, but we can also go externally to clean up, and that can affect it. Things always go both ways without there being hypocrisy. The energy, like when there's the internal turmoil, the external also shows turmoil. But if you clean up the internal, the external becomes cleaned up. But it goes the other way too. So when we clean up, sorry, I just saw something pop up. When we clean up our external environment, including, you know, who we relate with, and that, we can also clean up the internal chaos. All right, I'll just end with that. And a little pat on my back. Good job, Donna, buying this condo. So that first one was at 20. I can't remember how soon after I bought this one. A couple of years after. I owned them both for a while. So I had rented out that one while I lived here. And then I ended up, I could not rent this one out, so I had to sell it. So I think I might have sold this one first. I don't remember, but I owned them both for a while. And yeah, I can't remember how soon I bought this one after that one, but not too much, you know, early 20s. And buying investment property, woohoo! And it came from the need to be independent, you know, and a little bit of that scarcity mentality, you know, created, and just even I think the healthy craving for safety. to provide safe space for myself, you know, provide a place where I could go to regulate and be safe and not be abused. All right, peace out. Hope it helps. You know what? It's just, I just want to encourage you to reflect back on the healthy things, the healthy choices you made in life, and validate the heck out of yourself for them. Because if you grew up in trauma, you probably didn't get that. So just validate yourself. Give yourself some pats on the back and feel proud of the things that you did accomplish. Peace out.